Want to find the really good stuff on Reddit? Use the Flare filter.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to Tea Time Thoughts, the channel where we discuss thoughts and drink tea.
Yeah, so there's no shortage of wedding stuff, it turns out. I went on r/wedding shaming and used the Flare filter to find the most crass, drunk posts I could possibly find. So let's go. The groom's friend took a group photo of their... Why? The groom's friend took a group photo of their balls in the bathroom and gave the groom the photo. My boyfriend's group of friends, they're all 32-year-old men, have a tradition of sending their friends a picture of their balls on their friend's wedding day. Wait, what? Okay, so somebody had to come up with this. Somebody had to say yes to this, and they've done it more than once. Why? This sounds like something that you'd see on a National Geographic special. I feel like I should be reading this in David Attenborough's voice.
Each reveals its two-pronged penis. And now they fence.
Last night, we were all at one of our friends' weddings, and my boyfriend told me he'd already texted the groom his picture of his balls. Okay, I was actually picturing them going into the bathroom and like taking a group selfie. I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is a little bit better. The bride and the groom had these lovely Polaroid cameras for the guests to take pictures with on the table. At some point before dinner was served, all 5 guys got up to take a group photo. No, it was a group photo. A group photo of their balls in the bathroom. When they came out, the best man slid the picture in the groom's pocket. You know, he knows these guys. He should have known this was coming. This is not the first time this guy's met his groomsmen. I'm sure his balls have made the rounds in the past. Oh, I can't believe I'm trying to do this for a living. The wedding only had 34 attendees, and we sat at one big table. Needless to say, this is sounding more and more medieval. Needless to say, the bride was not too impressed, and the groom seemed rather embarrassed by it all. The groom knows his friends. He knows they do this. First of all, you didn't expect this, and second of all, you didn't warn your future wife that this is going to happen. This is going to be a thing. There's going to be testicles in my pocket before the night's over. Oh, I like that they did it with the Polaroid cameras that were provided to take beautiful pictures of the wedding.
A few inches later.
Oh my God. So this looks like a wedding favor. It looks like a beer cozy. You're commemorating your wedding with a massive national tragedy, or I wonder what I'm so confused and uncomfortable. I'm assuming these people are from the United States. Like, I've seen tacky, but I'm kind of like, I know what you were imagining the outcome would be, like expectation versus outcome. This is like giving away little miniature Hitler wedding favors. Why? This is just, ugh. I'm done with this one. Best man's girlfriend and sunbather ruin wedding. If I've already told this story, please forgive me. If not, I just thought of this and I thought you would all get a kick out of it. Many, many years ago, when I was still married to my awful ex, my sister-in-law went to get married. She didn't tell me I wasn't her bridesmaid anymore until she announced that she was getting married in 2 weeks with a very expensive destination wedding. Grr. She told you you were a bridesmaid before she got engaged? Wow. We had to borrow money for it and find a babysitter for the week, but we went. The best man brought his girlfriend, and holy shit, did this woman want to hammer the point home that she really wanted to get engaged, to the point where she actually wore a white lace dress with a sweep train. She also waltzed into the resort's only hair salon 15 minutes before the bride was set to arrive. Oh, no. She did that on purpose. She did that on purpose. Also, if this is the resort's only hair salon and they know there's a wedding, like, they need to take reservations only, like no walk-ins. Yes, but anyway. Asked for a complicated updo and then had white roses put in her hair. Oh, okay, she's one of these. Why do people do this? Why do you wear a white formal gown and a white headpiece to somebody else's wedding. I recognize it's a statement, and the statement is, I don't like you and I'm going to try to insult you, but you just look like such a wackadoo when you do that. It's like eating poison and expecting the bride to die. I don't get it. She actually screwed sister-in-law out of her appointment completely. She had an appointment. Oh, no, no, no. No, ma'am. And sister-in-law had to have her sister put her hair up in a bun. The kicker was that the best man planned to propose to his girlfriend the day after the wedding, had a really nice ring and a really nice proposal all lined up. But when she pulled that stunt, he decided, fuck that. And paid to send her home on the first flight out. Yeah, bye. You're not staying here. Good luck getting home. I'm not marrying you. Both sister-in-laws were awful people. For example, really bad weather kept me from getting to my baby shower later. I guess she means on time. And even though they would have all been willing to keep everything for the next day, they instead ate the cake and opened all the gifts. What? I feel like that's theft. That's theft, bestie. Awful people. But all of this was still not cool. No, it's not. There's no still. It's like, well, they were terrible, but it's still not okay. No, they were terrible. Not okay. Full stop. Ms. Tacky also wanted to walk down the aisle right before the bride did? What? Come on, lady, seriously? Right, because she's really desperate to get married and she wants her future husband to see what she will look like walking down the aisle in a wedding dress. And she's using someone else's wedding as a platform for that. Nothing crazy there. There's nothing crazy about that at all. No. But this is where I may be the tacky one because I still think this is funny as hell. I only privately laugh in my head. Never said a damn thing to my ex or his family. I will admit that I thought this was funny because they'd hurt me many times and karma's a bitch. The beaches that were at this resort were all public. Weddings were popular there, so you basically had to set your ceremony up at a time that you thought you could get away with it and pray. Sister-in-law thought she was getting away with it because there wasn't a single person that she could see. The ceremony started and it looked like smooth sailing. That is until a woman walked up, plopped herself down at the edge of the aisle, took off her top and began to sunbathe with a grin. That's mean though. The eating grin suggests that she was actually trying to photobomb their wedding, which is a horrible thing to do. God, is there anybody in this story that I don't hate? Let's see. Brother-in-law was taking the wedding video and it looked like this. Bride's walking, still walking, oh, boobs. Bride's up at the altar. Everything is going nice. Boobs. Vows are more boobs. Oh, you get the idea. Brother-in-law got in trouble. I can't believe that in a family where people get away with doing the things that we read about in this post, somebody saying boobs on a wedding video is somehow that's really inappropriate, but opening somebody else's gifts at their baby shower when they're not there, that's fine. That's just normal stuff. First come, first serve. They got me a pack of Huggies. Nothing like puke on your wedding night. Welcome to the train wreck that was my first wedding. To start, it was a destination wedding where we rented out a beach house and had some friends stay in the house with us. We had about 70 attendees with the whole wedding and reception taking place on the beach. Lead up. Future mother-in-law and her family were furious that they weren't getting married locally. They refused to talk to me at my bridal shower and this is so petty. Rearranged all the chairs so that they would sit away from my mom, sister, and I. Oh no. Number 2, my ex's aunt went on a Facebook tirade about how my family was terrible and classless because we were doing a destination wedding. This was all posted on the wedding Facebook group that we created. Bruh. The destination was my ex's idea because he didn't want to pay for a $300 per person wedding like his sister. But I was the bad guy, obviously. Duh. Grooms don't even have like a legal right to plan a wedding. In fact, I think in most places, a groom helping to plan his own wedding might even be illegal. So yeah, of course it's your fault.
Dangerous, tacky, sharks, haunted. No.
His mom was one of 12 kids. I'm not sure what that has to do with this, but wow, I feel sorry for grandma. The week of, number 1, my ex drank 2 bottles of red wine and then screamed at my friend, who doesn't like wine, for not swigging out of his bottle to the point that she cried. And you married him? This pre-wedding chaos extravaganza has more red flags than Soviet Russia. Like this is, why would you marry him? He then proceeded to rip the door handle off the sliding door. Number 2, his friend also got wine drunk and puked under his bed. He then made his way downstairs naked and passed out on the couch to be discovered by my friend. Oh God, was it the friend traumatized in part 1? I'm just that poor person. I would have left. I'm sorry, I couldn't have dealt with it. Number 3, ex refused to join a dinner that my parents had organized, which caused a huge fight between my mom and I. See, I'm already getting a really good sense of what her ex is like. He behaves poorly in such a way that causes rifts between her and the people she's close to. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. The wedding. He had a panic attack prior to the ceremony. For Christ. I'm not ripping on panic attacks. They're a real thing. This guy's a human panic attack. The photographer had to come get me to talk him down. Number 2, he insisted on wearing his shoes on the sand because he wanted to wear lifts. Even though everyone else was barefoot. Number 3, he insisted on changing into his work khakis right after the ceremony. Why? Number 4, he got drunk. Of course he did. And yelled at the photographer who had to come get me and tell me to control him or she would leave. And again, is this the same photographer from part 1 of this section? Because it's like he's just, it's like a wave of destruction across the entire wedding. After the wedding, we lost him in the beach house. How do you lose somebody in like a confined space as small as a beach house? We lost him in the beach house. We thought he had left, but we found him hiding in his friend's bathroom. This he's very unglued, my dear. We got him back to our room where he informed me that he felt sick, so I tried to get him to stay by the toilet. He refused and vomited into the sink, which I then got to clean out with a grocery bag over my hand. This is all on her wedding night. Number 7, he passed out on the floor after peeing in a cup that previously held our toothbrushes. Oh no! I'm gonna guess it may have previously held your toothbrushes, but nary a toothbrush went anywhere near that cup ever again. Wow. The honeymoon. Oh, it gets better. My luggage was lost for 6 days. I had to go buy supplies at the local Walmart. That sucks, but I guess we can't really blame him for that one, but I kind of want to find a way to do it. My former mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, and brother-in-law decided to surprise us by staying in the same hotel, despite being told by multiple people that this was a terrible idea. Ew! So they came on the honeymoon with them. Could you imagine? Like, I would not be able to enjoy, come on, we're all adults here. Honeymoons have a very specific purpose, and very specific things tend to happen in your hotel room during your honeymoon. And they basically derailed that. Like, you just know they got rooms all together around OP and her husband. Like, would you really want your in-laws hearing you banging them? Ugh, gross. Afterward, the photographer went AWOL and refused to provide the photos until our 1-year anniversary. I think the photographer was afraid that the groom would figure out where she lived and come burn her house down just because wine drunk. He's such a train wreck. Needless to say, he had a problem with alcohol. Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. Which was a contributing factor to my decision to leave 6 years later and restart my life for the better. It took you 6 years to get to that point? You know what, OP? I hope your life's awesome now. I hope you're doing really well. The way you ended that post, it sounds like you are, so keep being awesome, and yeah, don't date any more alcoholics.
The next morning.
Drunken bride missed her own wedding reception. I attended a wedding with my spouse a few months back. The bride was very drunk by 6 p.m. when she and her new husband arrived at the reception. We wondered why all the official stuff like the speeches and cake cutting were being done immediately after their arrival. One look at the bride answered that question. She was hammered. By 8 p.m., she was out cold, laying on the couch outside the entrance to the reception venue, literally passed out across 2 of her bridesmaids' laps. She remained there for the rest of the night until 11 p.m. when the reception wrapped up. She was then carried to the car, but before she could leave, she was vomiting into a bucket. It was a sight to see a woman in a beautifully expensive white dress vomiting and crying. My heart went out to the groom who spent most of the wedding reception walking around talking to guests on his own, unable to dance or share in the fun with his new wife. So, ideally, we only ever have, at most, 1 wedding in our entire lives. And this was her hopefully 1 wedding, and she missed the whole thing because she was drunk. And the reason she was crying at 11 is because she'd sobered up just enough during her 3-hour nap that she was aware that she'd missed her own wedding reception. That's sad. That is so sad. Bestie, get your ass to rehab. No, honey, that's so bad. Wedding guests put all their effort for the day into trashing the wedding. Shut up. A few years ago, a friend and I went together to the wedding of some mutual friends, both invited, decided to be each other's +1. We'll call them Donna and Dave. They were absolutely lovely people and a lovely couple and proof that you don't need a lot of money to put together a great wedding. They went to so much effort and worked incredibly hard on it. When we arrived, half the guests were in jeans, t-shirts, tank tops, and what I can only describe as has grotty dresses. The invitation said cocktail, and while I don't think the bride and groom expected people in Armani, it doesn't cost a lot to make an effort and look nice and presentable. When the bride turned up, her bridesmaids abandoned her and ran to the front and started flirting with the groomsmen. And she was just left standing there after exiting the car. Oh wow, what? Myself and another woman hot-footed it over there and primped and primed her for her walk. Nice, very nice. When the officiant did the traditional objection question, some guy decided to leap up and object, thinking it was hilarious to tell everyone about how he'd always wanted the bride. Money must have exchanged hands in that, because I don't know, whether or not that's hilarious is debatable, but humiliating yourself like that, I could never do it. He stood there laughing at his own joke until a person sitting near him basically manhandled him back into his seat. The reception was to take place in a back room at a nearby pub. It was, I thought, a clever way of doing things because guests could head in there and wait in the main area and have a drink whilst waiting for the bride and groom and reception to start. The invitation had made this clear that those drinks were at guests' own cost. A group of guests started shouting at the bar staff about having to pay for their drinks. A few other guests end up offering to pay for their drinks just to avoid a major issue. Another group of guests got trashed in the 30 to 40 minutes we waited. That's a skill to get hammered in half an hour. And yeah, you know, I thought that whole idea of having the bar and the reception and everything was clever too, but it looks like it's not such a clever idea. I will learn things from this if I ever get married. A woman and I stuck our heads into the reception room and discovered it had been ransacked. Shut up. Someone had made off with the gifts. No. And even some of the glassware, plates, and decorations via an open back door where the bride and groom were to enter. We notified staff who were then frantically trying to fix things with the help of some other guests. And then the gift thief, a guest, came back for another round. No. Why? Why? Like just for your own, like not getting caught ability. Why? An older guy, probably in his 70s, was so fed up. He crash-tackled the guy to the floor, and then a couple of people dragged him to the manager's office to call the police. Nice, okay. Donna and Dave arrived shortly after this, and all of us in the know stood there with insane plastered smiles like, nothing to see here, it's all good. The situation got resolved somehow. The police got rid of the douche canoe, got the gifts back, good. And a couple of the guests brought them back to the venue as though they'd just been stored somewhere else. Nice, nice. I love that people really did try to keep up the illusion that this wasn't a giant chaos tornado and ruining the day for the bride and groom. That's good. The reception was, again, really well done for a tight budget, but so many of the guests got drunk, were rowdy beyond acceptable, and behaved belligerently. Two of them, people in their late 20s, started a food fight. Yeah, you heard it. They started a food fight. Luckily, security threw them out. The sensible guests spent most of the night running interference. At one point, I helped a bridesmaid to the toilet to vomit because she'd otherwise thought under the table was a good spot. Oh no. My friend had a guy he was helping wee on him and then try to kiss him. It was a rough pub, so thankfully the staff were pretty used to dealing with this kind of stuff. They were unbelievably tolerant and helpful. At the end of the evening, most of us were really struggling, but determined to stay to support Donna and Dave. We went to see them off, and someone had vomited all over their car. It's not funny. It's not funny. A couple of kind older ladies got supplies from the pub and cleaned it off while the rest of us stood around trying to laugh and joke with the bride and groom. A few of us went back to the venue before leaving and discovered that the bride's parents, who had agreed to pay any extra on the day costs as their wedding gift, had nicked off. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a kind of a shitty thing to do, but at the same time, that's gonna be the most expensive gift those two got for their wedding. So we split it, including some costs of the missing glass and tableware. Oh, God. There was a brief moment when those of us remaining were thinking about having a final drink in the bar, and it was like, nope. Let us all go home and never speak of this again. We were covered in grot. One guy had cake all down his suit trousers. Donna sent us the loveliest thank you notes. They had, despite everything, had a wonderful day, which was such a relief. Please don't do this to your guests. Was at a wedding recently where the groom proceeded to take about 3.5 minutes to painstakingly make his way up his bride's leg and under her dress, poke his head back out a few times, awkwardly acknowledging the bride's dad sitting there watching, go back under the dress, and then finally grab the garter with his teeth and make weird grunting noises while he dragged the garter off her, stood up, sniffed it, Why? Why? And then proceeded to try to hand it to his own brother. When his brother wouldn't take it, he finally just flung it into the crowd. It was excruciating. Please don't put your guests through that. Yuck.
Meanwhile,
Welcome to Emily's wedding, featuring Bailey. Any bride that has a sign like this at her wedding, she's the kind of bride that doesn't have a makeup artist or a hairdresser. She has a style squad. You just know. Okay, I'm gonna shut up and get out of here. I have to go have a shower. Just